think it will be a real eye-opener this season. I've got a feeling that this season is going to be some monumental numbers. I think it could be a 300 plus season.
Welcome back to the Lose to Win podcast with myself, Josh, and I have Ben with me again this week. We do not have a guest, unfortunately, but we are coming back to something that we said we would do last week and unfortunately didn't, so apologies for that. But welcome, Ben. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, mate. Good evening. Nice to see you. How's things?
Yeah, not too bad. Been going good. Start of a new season, as we'll come to in a bit. So
yes, apologies for last week. It was all a bit mad, wasn't it? So but we're back, and that's the main thing. So start of a new season. Busy week last week. Of course, we had the little friendly week in between with the awards. So this time around, we're going to do our very special end of season awards pod, which we know everybody loves to hear.
Indeed, we have much. Well, have we prepared thoroughly for this, Ben?
Well, I wouldn't say thoroughly. There is some preparation.
Yeah, I know. I'm just more trying to give away the backstage secrets here. It's not really.
Yeah, no. Yes, it's all very well prepared and very well thought out. Yes.
Well, last season then, I think we can probably start there and just kind of rumble straight into it.
Yeah.
So our overall total, I should say, to begin with, was 141.5 kilos last season overall.
Yeah.
That's 3 Kylie Minogues.
It's not bad.
That's our standard measuring stick. Yeah, it's not too bad for a summer season.
I'd be happy with 1 Kylie Minogue sat on my lap.
Yeah. Wouldn't we all, hey? I don't know how old she is now, that woman.
She's old, mate. She's old, but she's still got it. She's still got it, right?
Yeah. Indeed, yeah.
3 Kylies. I know, like you say, mate, over the summer, I think that's not bad. I know we've been hitting the lofty heights of sort of, 250 previously, but we all know, and we've spoken about it before, that the summer holidays is a real difficult one. It kind of goes in line with Christmas, really. I think Christmas is the other one that we all struggle on, because of just the fact that everyone has parties in their way. There's like a month's worth of potential pitfalls in there, and it's the same with summer. There's like a 6-week period where, especially those with families, that people go on holiday and barbecue time and all that kind of stuff, and especially with the Euros was in there as well, so it's a difficult one. So the fact we lost weight, we lost 150 kilos, I still think is a really, really good achievement, and I think there are a number of people, certainly with our group, who have made some absolutely tremendous losses in that time as well. There've been a few of us who just kind of plateaued, and I will include myself in there. I lost absolutely bugger all over the summer. In fact, I think I ended up about half a kilo up on my starting weight, which was a shame. I didn't quite get that, but I did go on holiday, as well documented, and I did put quite a lot on. So to get back to almost my starting weight, I wasn't too upset with that. And like we've spoken about before, I'm fairly comfortable with my weight at the moment anyway. So anyway, I don't think it's a bad thing. What do you think? Do you think it's a bad thing or a good thing?
No. All weight lost is a good thing as such.
Yeah,
I think it was a good season overall. Especially there was some tremendous individual performances throughout the season. I think some people in the league would admit that they didn't have their best season, but as you have just eloquently put, that comes around holiday and various other family commitments, especially in the summer break when you've got kids and things like that towards the end. So I don't think it's disappointing overall. I think it was good. We had a few disappointing weeks in there. But overall, but that's not. I think that's kind of, again, back to what we were saying. It's a sign of the season, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
In terms of, I mean, a season as in summer rather than season as in season 10 of our league. But so I think that's quite typical of overall, and I don't think it's anything to be sniffed at. 150, almost 150 kilos is massive, as we say, very, very good going. So I don't think we can be too disappointed with it. But it is something that we potentially could use the term bounce back for coming into the autumn season. So I think that we can hit our stride nicely.
Well, I think when you look at the first week of the new season, I think there's some quite astonishing figures in there. So I think that will certainly set the precedent, I think, for this season. So look forward to hearing about that one.
Yeah, indeed. How did you feel the new rotation went, new season overall, as a big picture in terms of competitiveness?
Really good. Yeah, really good. I think right to the death. I think everyone was quite evenly matched on the pitch. I think there was a lot more what seemed to be closer results than we've experienced before. Of course, you get the odd one where there's a bit of an anomaly, but I think for the most part, I think anyone could have beat anyone on their day. So it's quite nice to know that you're going to get a good fight, and there's no one was just being rolled over continuously, which is nice. So no, I think, and from a group of, the groups in the individual groups, them all getting along, I think everyone's got on really well from what I can understand. I think all groups have gelled quite well. From my point of view, in my team, we took a while to get going on the pitch, but we kind of got there halfway through the season and we've kicked on from there. So I think we're all quite looking forward to the new season. And we kind of did a bit arse about face. We started quite well with weight, but not very well on the pitch, and then it kind of flipped. We started to drop off a little bit on weight and started to get better on the pitch. But it's it's difficult when you get a whole new group of players, and I've got to be honest, that I didn't know, I hadn't played with anyone that I swapped in my new team. I'd not been with any of them before, so when you've got a new group of players, you know what it's like. It's difficult to find the balance of who plays where and what sort of setup you use as your default, and how it suits the players that are likely to be there. But we found it. I think we found it. So we've started to play some really good football. So quite pleased with where we're at anyway. And I think most teams are in a similar position.
I'd say so. Yeah, I think so. As you say, there's the odd one here and there, the odd game that is a little potentially, I wouldn't say one-sided, but that, again, in particularly in the summer season, that's more apparent than ever because you've got people.
Well, that's it. If you've got three or four, you got 3 or 4 players missing, then they can make a big difference in the way that the team sets up and plays.
I think sometimes that, I don't think that puts. I think it's to your point, as you started gaining ground on the pitch, the back end of the season. I think that's probably the case with quite a lot of the teams in the league.
I would think so.
Because you have a stop-start thing. Bearing in mind we started the first week in June, so there's going to be a stop-start kind of thing where people on and off. I played 1 week at the start of the new rotation, and that was off for 2 weeks. And I think that's the case with a few people in the midway through the season. So you better get a bit of inconsistency with the lineup, and we know what that can do. Yeah, in terms of overall competitiveness, I'm very happy with how it's gone. Obviously, having a very slight hand in how it,
key part in how they were set up. So how did you feel it? You thought it did a good job?
Yeah, I think it's come out pretty well. Again, it's always difficult because you end up losing players to the season, and new players come in, and you're not really sure what their level is in terms of pitch or how well they're going to do the weight loss, and then that just changes the balance overall. But I think the balance is still pretty good. I think, I think it was pretty good to start with. So, all credit to Steve really for that job. Well done.
Yeah, fair play. That one. And I know this season we've lost a few old hands who've been around for a while have sadly stepped away, but we've also picked up quite a lot of new members, and I think we're nearly full now, aren't we? I think there's one spot left. Is there?
This is I'll clip this up. This is the most players that Man v Fat Bournemouth has ever had since its inception.
Yeah, wow.
In the league at the moment. So we are up to 86 players, 86, 87.
It must be 87 because we've only got 10.
Yeah, so we only have 10 as well, but there's a couple of places available and a couple of places that are already assigned to people who are going to join in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
So we may not officially have 86 now. 84 is the number I can see at the moment, but it is
there's a few in
to be 86 or 87.
Cool. That's bonkers, isn't it?
So
so that's the most they'll ever have been.
Yep. And we continue to grow. I think that's a great sign as well, especially as you said, we did lose some.
Yeah.
And then we've picked up a lot of new players to start this season. So, and it's only a 1 week in, but I'm hoping they're going to enjoy it.
Hope so.
get into it.
Yeah, I hope so.
We've got a couple who've have only been here a few weeks, but they're already settling in very nicely. So,
well, these boys need to come and listen to this podcast then. Anyone out there anyone in the new lads in the teams for our regular listeners, make sure you spread the word about the pod and let the newbies know that we're here and we talk a load of nonsense about Man v Fat every week, and they might get mentioned. You never know. Ooh, the fame.
Indeed, yes, to our one or two listeners out there. Yeah.
Scott, he got the up last week when there wasn't one.
Oh yeah, well, there's probably a couple, to be honest. Okay. Apologies about that, but we're back anyway this week, so we should probably run through last season's
roll of honor,
roll of honor. You say,
for those that weren't able to attend seasonal awards ceremony for the gongs that people won for their work throughout the season. We'll just quickly run through them for you. Go for it, Joshy.
Well, I'm going to start with last man standing. Actually, it's off the top of the list. As those in the club know, it's about losing weight every single week that you can until the end of the season. For any week that you gain weight, you're removed from the competition essentially, or unless you have a grace week. And again, so it's this season we had 3 people who made it to last season, I should say. Last season we had 3 people who made it all the way to the end of the season. That's all 14 weeks. Consistently losing weight, with the exception of a couple who did 13 and had a grace week. So those who did the 13 weeks and had a grace week were Peter Meach and John Costa, who made it 13 out of 14 weeks losing weight, which is phenomenal.
Outstanding. Really, well done, boys.
Outstanding. But the overall winner was Matt Waterman, whose name will come up quite a lot, I'm sure, in this roll call. Is
anyone bored of hearing his name? And he's on my team. No, we love him.
I'm sure he's bored of hearing it as well, to be honest.
He's absolutely smashing it.
Yeah, he's doing amazing. And he went all 14 weeks and didn't use his grace week. And I still think he's going. I still don't think he's gained any weight.
No, he's still going. He's still going.
So that was pretty impressive. One thing I didn't actually have in the roll call, but was mentioned on our night, was that Matt is the first person in the club that I know of to have hit 4 milestones in a season. Although,
correct. There was a little, we had a little bit of a
5%
question one, didn't we? Go on.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We can come back to that. It's 10%.
Yeah.
It's 15%.
Yeah.
And he's 20%.
Yeah,
in a season. Albeit he did hit his 5% on week 1. But even so
he kind of rolled into that. But he did do it in that week. It wasn't like he'd done it and carried it over. He did it in the first week of first season. So yeah. And then it was week 5, I think, week 4 or 5, he hit 10. And then it was around about week 9, he hit 15. And then somewhere around, I think it might have been the last week. It might have been the week before the last week that he hit his 20. And then he had to carry it over. Might have been the very last week, actually.
And I assume that's what you were going to come on and say, by the way, around the carrying over of...
Well, he carried it. Well, obviously, when we carried it over, he carried 2 milestones into our first game week for this season, which was always going to be a bit of a bugger for whoever we came up against. And I will apologise again to poor old Greens who got that, but we'll come to that a bit later. No, I was going to say that we mentioned it before, and there was a bit of a kickback that it had been done before, and that other people had done it before. But we did check it with Steve, and Steve said, well, technically hitting a maintenance is not actually hitting a milestone, because you can hit maintenance by less than, you could get to your milestone and then a week later lose a half a kilo and get into maintenance. So technically Matt is the only one to have ever done 4 milestones in a season. Apologies, Luke.
Yes. Sorry, Luke. Yeah. Who did have a spectacular season. Let's not forget.
He did.
It
Absolutely
was
correct. Yeah.
So
for anyone who doesn't get that reference, that was Luke who got he got 3 percentages and then he hit maintenance. So
last season, the season before last, sorry.
The season before. Yeah. So sorry, mate. Don't count.
Yeah.
Don't count.
Then we should probably come on to the top scorer is the first one. So our top scorers, the runners-up were Matt Waterman and Dave Danley.
Brilliant.
As far as I'm aware, I don't actually know the total, but I think they scored 16 or 17 weight loss goals.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
But the winner was Chris Cowan of the Blacks, who hit 19.5 weight loss goals.
Incredible.
For the season. That would have been him hitting a couple of percentages, his milestone, his maintenance, and then staying in maintenance for the rest of the season, as far as I understand it.
Yeah.
Which again is no.
Absolutely incredible. Yeah, especially if I think for Chris, special mention for Chris, because a lot of his kind of regime was based around running, and he injured himself and he couldn't run, so I think he was finding it particularly quite difficult. I had a chat to him after the last game of the season, and he'd said he'd struggled a bit not being able to do that. So fair play to him for that. I mean, crikey, he had a phenomenal season. In fact, he's had 2 phenomenal seasons really in a row. So yeah, brilliant work for him.
Yeah, well done. And the next one then, the amazing loser. So this went to the person who loses the highest percentage. Whereas top scorer's number of weight loss goals this season, amazing loser is the highest percentage of your body weight lost.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the runner-up of this one was Geordie, who had a phenomenal season, most recent podcast, and he lost 10.32%.
Which is huge.
Of his body weight in the season, which is massive.
Yeah.
But he was smashed, unfortunately, by Matt Waterman.
Yeah.
Who lost 16.91% of his body weight in a season.
Yeah, that's mad.
Which is absolutely mad indeed. Insane. I don't actually know the figure on how much weight that is. I really should know this. But I think
I can remember offhand, because I've been talking to Matt about it. I've got a feeling he's in a similar sort of weight bracket, because we were similar height, and I think we were similar weights when he started. I think he was slightly heavier than me. I think if he's hit that much, it's got to be about 25 kilos, something like that, maybe 20%, 25 kilos, something like that. Maybe not quite that much, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I mean, to date, he's already had a great start to the season. So before this week, he lost 24-ish kilos.
Yeah, there you go.
Total. But minus the 5%
for the milestones.
From the top of the milestones. So
there you go, 20
kilos.
In
the region of 18 kilos or
something. Yeah. Which is averages what's 1.5 kilos a week, something like that.
Yeah.
Which is phenomenal. Yeah. Absolutely phenomenal. Yeah. So well done, mate.
Indeed. So that's it for amazing loser, and not fully for the individuals, but we'll come back to the last couple in a minute. So in terms of the league tables, the pitch league, first off, the runners-up were the Reds, the Red Hot Chubby Fellas.
Well done, Reds.
Second in the pitch league. And the winners of the pitch league were the Black Eyed Pies, so the Blacks.
Well done,
they
Blacks.
won the pitch league, indeed. I think you'll notice a theme now. So the scales were the runners-up were Bayern Evolution, so the Blues. Were the scales runners up, and then winning the scales league were the Black Eyed Pies, the Blacks.
Well done, Blacks.
Yeah, indeed. And then we come to the main league. The runners up were Bayern Evolution, the Blues, and then the winners, congratulations, were the Black Eyed Pies, the Blacks. So they took a treble.
Well done.
In their first season together.
Fantastic.
This rotation. I'm sure you're about to mention, Ben, that no one has had a quadruple and no one will be able to hit a quadruple anymore.
Well, there you go. You see, we did get a quadruple. I don't know if I've mentioned that before, but no, you can't get one anymore. So you don't have the cup anymore. So a treble comes a good close second, doesn't it?
Well, we could say they had a quadruple. They had 3 leagues, and the top scorer was won by Chris Cowan.
That's
true.
Blacks. That's true. You could say that, but that doesn't really count. So, yeah, we'll always have a quad, mate. We'll always have the quad. But no, I mean, that's a fantastic achievement at the end of the day. I'd like to say, though, I think it came close. There were, the last week there were potentials that could have. I mean, it would have to have been some pretty spectacular results to go the other way. But I know Craig was a little bit apprehensive with the Blues weight loss. Because we played Blacks the last game of the season, they just pipped us on the pitch. It was a really good game. I think it ended like 4-3 or something, or 3-2 or something like that to the Blacks. So they ended up pipping out on the pitch. I but they were I think they were closer than they were hoping on the scales. So I know Blues really pushed it that last week, and we as Purples probably didn't hit as many as we could have done, with it being a week where it was the last week going into the season. But I think, for the most part we did. We just, what it's like last week going up towards the end of the season. There wasn't that drive for us to really try and push it. So no, but fair play to them. I think they were obviously the most consistent throughout the season. Great on the pitch, great on the scales, good bunch of lads as well. Really quite a close knit group. Gelled quite quickly, which is always nice to see. So yeah, I mean, you can't take anything away from them. Fantastic team. So well done to them. Fantastic.
Yeah, very well done. It should be said though, they were pushed on a few occasions throughout the season. I know us Yellows were top for a few weeks.
You were, yeah. Blues were there as well.
I think the Whites almost snuck in at the end.
Yeah, so, Whites came up strong.
Yeah,
and they started strong as well, haven't they, in this next season? So.
Yeah, and as you say, from the pitch side of things, it was pretty close. So there were games, where they struggled a little bit, and to really dig deep on the weight loss, which they've done, which has got them there. That's proved by the Scales League, and I think we always say that, don't we?
Yeah,
it's the Scales. If you win the Scales League, you're more than likely to win the main league. So
yeah,
it's just how it is.
Fantastic.
But with them, we should come on, by the way, to the two. There were two clubmen.
Yes,
the individual honour that is potentially most prized in the league every season. I don't have anything to go around this other than just to say who they are, because I think anyone in the league kind of knows who they are by now, and thoroughly deserving that they are. So the first winner, Mr. Man Mountain, Tom Marks.
Amazing.
For just tremendous consistency, and obviously he's been in the club now for at least 2 or 3 seasons now, hasn't he? And just non-stop, relentless, and it's just become a stalwart of the club, like most people do. So
and his journey's been quite incredible, hasn't it? I mean, fair play to the boy. We've had him on here a few weeks back, and he was talking about his journey, and it's quite inspirational to hear him. Bless him. So very, very well deserved. Yeah. And he's transformed, isn't he? I mean, crikey, he just looks like a completely different person these days, doesn't he? Incredible, really.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But great guy to have around. Great guy.
Oh yeah. And our next guy on the list has been here since the end of season 1, as we were corrected.
Middle of season one he joined. Right, he couldn't remember, could he?
As he was our guest on last time. Yes. Mr. Geordie Howe.
Yeah, well done, Geordie.
I believe that's how you pronounce your last name, by the way, Geordie, even though you were on the pod. Apologies. Only because Steve pronounced it differently when he did the roll call. So I was like, okay. Maybe I've got it wrong this whole time.
Geordie.
So please correct me. Anyway, Geordie, another fantastic clubman. And everyone kind of knew from the first line that Steve mentioned it, but we had to let him go for a few more lines before he gave it to Geordie. Thoroughly well deserved. And because obviously we've had you on the pod, so we know we've heard what you've done recently to get to where you are, and obviously this last season in particular, everything's kind of gelled, and so thoroughly deserved.
He's a really, really good guy as well, isn't he, Geordie? He's a lovely, lovely man. I got to play with him in the mini tournament that we had, and he's really, really enjoying his football as well, and it's really nice to see.
Beloved by the club.
Yeah, defo. Top man. Well done, lads.
Yes, well done. It was another good season, and we roll on to another hopefully better season. Even better season.
Let's
I'm
hope.
sure we'll come back this time in 13, 14 weeks' time, and we'll have another huge roll call of very deserving winners of many things. So,
and I think it will be a real. I think it will be a real eye opener this season. I've got a feeling that this season's going to be some monumental numbers. I think now we're full up pretty much. And it's the time of year when most people can concentrate and crack on. Shouldn't be too much going on outside. I think I think it could be a 300 plus season. I think.
Oof, that's a bar set, isn't it? 300 plus. That's
Yeah.
But yeah,
massive.
Yeah, absolutely doable.
No reason why not. No reason why not.
Considering, as you say, number of new people in the league, and especially if those new players manage to buy into what we try to do, and as they tend to do, we have a good competitive season. I don't see why not. Seems completely.
Let's do it, lads.
Plausible.
Let's go for it. I think we can do it.
And yeah, and as we'll come on to at some point soon, I think our first week kind of sets us up quite nicely for that. So
yeah. But first, go on, mate. Before we go into last week, go on.
Let's move on to our lose to win awards,
which we know everybody loves.
Yes, well, if you're on the receiving end of a particular couple of awards, maybe not so much, but we do it all in jest. So I hope everyone understands that we're not picking people out for any particular reason other than just for a bit of a laugh, really, with some of these. And then others are a bit more serious, we should say.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I will kick off.
Yes, go
for our
it,
first award, and our first award is our most improved award.
Yeah.
So naturally, as it states, who we believe to be the most improved player of last season overall.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We should say there is a particular honourable mention we've got in the category who came along, I believe, at the start of last season or towards the start of last season, into a team that will themselves probably admit they struggled a little bit, but he has shone brightly in that struggle. And that is Mr. Liam Dancer. Who we think has come on massive strides. In particular, just in fitness and the time he's able to dedicate to the pitch and his understanding of the pitch. So very well done, Liam, and I think keep it up, and in no time he'll be up there.
Yeah, defo.
Our winner, though, is someone who is part of a brother group, I should probably say. He's been in, I'm trying to remember, he did come into the league.
He came in
the back end of a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah.
But and I think he was a little bit unsure of himself in the first few weeks. But this last season, oh my God, I don't know where it's come from.
Transformed.
I think, and this is big words, and Ryan will kill me for this because he's on my team. He's my captain. But I think he can really start challenging Ryan for overall.
Big words.
Best goalkeeper in the league.
Well, at the end of the day, come on.
Although there are so many great goalkeepers in the league. Yeah, Gareth is the best goalkeeper in the league.
Jimmy, he's a great goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, to be fair, there are so many great goalkeepers. But I have never seen anyone with reactions like Mr. Anthony Skerman, who is our winner of most improved.
Yeah, definitely.
He has come on leaps. But honestly, every week he makes worldies.
He does.
And I just... from nowhere. In fact, I played with him last Thursday, and there was one that went straight through me. He was probably about 5 yards out, and I know because I could see out the corner of my eye that Ant was not positioned because the ball had gone out wide and quickly come across, so he'd had to scamper across his goal.
Yeah,
and I do not know how he got there. I just don't know how he got there.
Because he's lost all that weight, mate. He's become so much more agile that he can now get to these balls. He was always a good keeper. He's always a good keeper, but the fact that he's lost so much weight and he's now a bit more agile. We found the same with Tom, didn't we? He was always a good keeper, but since he's lost the weight, he's even more agile. Can get down, get up, can get across the goal face much quicker. But overall, the fact that he's come out of his shell a little bit more, he's a bit more confident. It's really, really good to see. And as you say, he's a really, really great keeper. Not. I was going to talk about your goalkeeping skills, mate, after our little mini tournament.
You mean the one where I deliberately let the ball through my feet so I wouldn't have to subject myself to going in goal for our team?
Oh, no, it was the power, it was the pace on the shot, mate. I'm sure it was.
Yes, absolutely, yes. It's the fact that you dug your toe into the ground that.
Mate, honestly, it was the worst goal. The worst goal. I miskicked it, and then you completely missed it. It was terrible.
I was far too casual.
Funny. It was very funny.
I thought, that's a nothing shot. That's fine. I'll just control that with my feet.
I'll take it, though, mate. I'll take it.
Something you'll never see Ant do.
No, absolutely.
So congratulations, Ant. I should say, honestly, leaps and bounds and the confidence, and with your brother there in the blue team as well, it's a huge, solid pairing.
Yeah,
really
brilliant.
solid. So
we're playing them this week, so I'm not looking forward to it.
Well, good luck.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Anyway, well done, lads. So, okay, next one then. So we've got a new, kind of a new category here. We have not done this one before, I don't think. Maybe similar guys, but we've called this one Mr. Consistent. Okay, so this goes to someone who is ever present down at Manby Fat on a Friday night. Always encouraging, always shouting for the sidelines, always got something to say. A real big character, and a pleasure to have around. And he's well loved within the community, and he gets involved all of the time with the extra sessions as well, and the 11s occasionally drops up. He also came up with us to the Nationals and played a big part in that. So we're giving that one this season to the man that is Mr. Luke Cage.
Yes, well done, Luke.
Well done,
very
Lukey.
well deserved. Yeah. Well, I mean, his presence is very much felt, isn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
All the time.
Definitely. Yeah,
and that's not part. To be. It's a huge part of the community, and I mean, it is extremely noticeable if he's ever not there, but absolutely. As he is almost ever there. It's just we never got to that yet, but
no,
yeah,
he's a great guy to have around, and
absolutely.
Yeah. So well done, Lukey. Keep it up, mate. We'd miss you if you weren't there, son. So keep going.
Absolutely. Well, our next award is for the newcomer of the season. Now, this one was a little bit difficult. Well, it wasn't really particularly difficult, but it was difficult in that it's a struggle to remember who started specifically last season.
When they started.
When they started, because a few started a few weeks before the end of last season. So we felt maybe that they wasn't particularly fair. We should say an honourable mention to Mr. Liam Dancer again. Again, as I say, it's more a combination of being potentially most improved and being a newcomer in the league. Again, leaps and bounds, and long may it continue, mate. So very well. But our winner, who has only been at the club for all of 5 weeks,
5 or 6 weeks,
5 weeks, but has made an immediate impression, mainly based on the absolutely insane amount of weight he has lost in 5 weeks. It is Mr. Josh Buxton, who I believe has lost somewhere in the region of 10 or 11 kilos in the 5 or 6 weeks he's been it.
Which is a bit bonkers.
Which is, yes, absolutely insane. And
he's going great guns.
Thoroughly well deserved, absolutely. So even in the short window, congratulations, Josh, for being our
well done, mate.
Best newcomer of the year, because you not only just fit straight in, but you've obviously got straight into the buying into what it's about, to help your team move forward as a collective and help yourself, because that's ultimately what we're all here for.
Absolutely.
And he's done absolutely phenomenal. I believe he's been in Team of the Week every single week that he's qualified to be in Team of the Week since he's been here. And that in itself is an absolutely incredible achievement, especially as we'll come on to. I believe he's in this week's one, and it's pretty competitive. So it's just amazing. And I also know just how proud he is and how proud he should be of the weight he's lost and what he's contributed in the few weeks that he's been here.
Yeah.
And he was saying to me as we walked away from the pitch on Friday, actually, this last Friday, that it's becoming much easier to move around and get involved in the game on the pitch, as it does when you lose weight, and you'll build confidence. And that's absolutely brilliant. It's the one thing we all love to hear.
Yeah.
It's just how it's helping already.
Fantastic. Well,
absolutely.
Mate. Cool. Okay, so we go on to what we've got next, our utility player. Okay, so this is someone who we believe is kind of a multi-tool when it comes to the pitch. Can play anywhere, do anything, and always do it really, really well, which is really annoying for some of us who are not quite so talented in those departments. But sadly, this is someone who, and it breaks my heart to say that he's no longer part of the Manby Fat community on a Friday night. He sadly hung up his Manby Fat boots at the end of last season, but it would be an absolute travesty if we didn't give him the kudos that he thoroughly deserves. The nicest man at Manby Fat football, not just my opinion, the opinion of many's, Mr. Victor Aquino, our man from Brazil. What a legend.
Yes,
Vic,
absolutely.
We love you,
mate. I mean, I have to admit, I think I should have counted the number of nutmegs he pulled over the season. I was doing my fantasy.
Grew up on the streets, man. Grew up on the streets.
Absolutely. Just insane. It's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was saying to the other day. And I think someone was saying to me that Vic half the time looks like he plays within himself as well.
Yeah.
He could just actually just take over and just like completely decimate everyone all the time.
Goes,
but because he's such a nice guy, he holds back.
Yeah.
So,
bless him. He'll be a big loss down there because he's a big guy. It's been well documented now. Everyone loves Vic. He's a genuinely nice guy who is always got a smile on his face, never a bad word to say about anybody, just loves playing football, and he's also happens to be a particularly good footballer, which is sickening. But of course he'll still be around on the Tuesdays and Thursdays and whatnot, and I'm sure he'll get involved in 11s as well. Big part of that. So well done, Vic. We'll miss you, mate. But you are our utility player of the season. Well done, mate.
Well done. The next one then is goal of the season.
Now
I must admit, this is always a difficult one because partly because there are some absolutely phenomenal goals, but also because our memories aren't fantastic.
And we don't always see every game either. That's makes it quite difficult.
I would say to give you an idea of potentially how good, and I'll let Ben explain from the winner. This season is that the honourable mention runner-up as such was in itself an absolute corker. It goes to Alex Jones as the honourable mention for his Gaza-esque.
His Gaza circa 96, circa Euro 96.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I think he did it on the volley. So Ryan pings it up to him from the goal.
Yeah.
He touches it on the volley over the defender.
Yeah.
And then
turns and volleys into the back of the net.
Volleys back of the volley in the back of the net. I was just like,
I mean, I'm going to be honest. Unreal. It was questionable. He may have been slightly in the area.
Oh, come on.
No, I don't know. I'm joking. It was a bonkers goal. It was quite exceptional, really. So well done, mate. That was a brilliant goal.
Absolutely.
And we know that there are sort of some regular pingers that go in from all sorts of players, but there is one particular that sticks out. Go on, mate.
It goes to Mr. Jogs Colleen, who, as far as I'm aware, and I didn't see this goal because I'm not sure if I wasn't there that week. I think it might have been when I was on holiday, or it might have been the one week I was coaching. But either way, I've heard a few things about this goal, and it's like one of these things of Chinese whispers. It goes round, and it gets better every time someone tells me the story about this goal. So I need from you to tell me what this was.
Well, basically, it was from a kickoff. So Jogsy just said, "Here, pop it back, and I'll have a knock." So I just dropped it back to him. It literally took 3, 4, 5 yards, maybe inside our own half, and we were playing. Who were we playing? Whites, I think. And you know what he's like? He doesn't really look like he's really kicked it very hard because he's got such a short backswing. But he just hammered it, and it went so fast, and it dipped just at the last point, and it went top bins against Mark. Mark didn't stand a chance. It was like a fucking rocket, and it made this noise that is just quite unnerving. Actually, it made a kind of pinging noise. You know what I mean? When the ball just kind of goes like that. And it just, honestly, everyone on the pitch was like, holy shit. And everyone watching was just like, oh my God. And Jogs, he's so laid back. He just was like, yeah, nice one, lads. Yeah. But it was incredible to watch. Absolutely incredible. And a phenomenal goal. Mark, I mean, to be fair, pinged out, it just came off the underside of the crossbar in top left corner. And it was just fucking mad. So, absolutely outstanding goal. And I don't think anyone would argue with that, to be honest. Fabulous goal. So well done, Jogsy. I don't think he listens to this, by the way. In fact, I know he doesn't listen. But I'll get him to listen to this so he can hear us singing his praises, because it was. And to be fair, he does score worldy goals quite regularly. That was something else.
Got one from inside your own half.
Oh, mate,
in typical Jogs fashion.
Yeah.
I've just got this thing in my mind where it just kind of stays hit. It just goes, hits it. And it doesn't really dip too much. It's just one trajectory up, just straight in.
It was mad. It was totally mad, mate. Honestly. But there you go.
Yeah. Well,
so who we got next? Go on.
Well,
right, next up,
for yourself.
Our prima donna. Now we love the prima donna one, and this one is for our learned teammates who sometimes get a little bit needy. Is that the right word? Sometimes a little bit upset. Sometimes get a little bit moany. They love their football. But can take a little bit personally sometimes. And last year, of course, we gave it to Rubes, which was hysterically funny, and his wife found it incredibly amusing. But this year, we thought there's someone particularly who come out of his shell a little bit. He started when he joined, he was quite quiet and quite unassuming and just kind of went about his business. But in recent weeks, he's got quite confident and he's got a little bit more vocal and he's started to think he's a little bit of a big boy about town now. And it always amuses me listening to him sound off a little bit. And that's our good old pal, Dom. Big bad Dom. He just makes me laugh, and he has his moments, and he'll probably laugh about this. I hope he laughs about it. He is in jest, mate. We love you. Yeah. But now that confidence is brimming over the top, it's quite amusing to watch you.
Yeah.
So don't give me no jib. Don't give me no jib for that, mate. It's meant in jest. We love you, mate.
Well, our next one is the Duracell Bunny Award. Now, last year, this went to Rob Hodge, as far as I understand.
It did,
for his just relentlessness around the pitch. And
no, Sid. We gave it to Sid, didn't
Sid?
We?
No, we gave it to Sid. Rob was the honourable mention.
Was the
My
first
deep
year.
Apologies. Yes.
No, Sid was last year. Last season, sorry. It was Sid, but he wasn't at the awards to accept his award.
Different award for Robbo, and my apologies.
Robbo got Katie Price.
Yes, we'll come to that. So, our Duracell Bunny, there's a few of these in the league, I must say.
Yeah, God,
now,
especially
it's
now.
Getting more and more impressive to see as many people who can just run and run and run and run and never seem to stop. And the only thing I get from this gentleman winner on the sideline every single week is, that was a bit tough, wasn't it? Every single week. And I just think to myself, you're the guy who ran all the time, just literally non-stop. Didn't even have to sub, just nothing. So this year's one, it goes to Mr. Paul Briggs of the Yellows, who does much of the running that me and, just me really, can't do in our team, and I love him for it. So
and he's always wearing his woolly hat.
Yeah, or some form of hat, yes. And so but it just keeps running and running and running and running and running, and it's extremely impressive.
Fair play. He's done really well as well on weight as well, hasn't he? He must be really close to his maintenance now, surely.
Yeah, I don't think he's far off. I don't know specifically how much, but I think he would say himself he's done very well to get to where he is, and he's got a little bit more to go, but he's not far off, and all credit to him.
Yeah, fair play. Good lad. Well done, Paulie. Good lad.
Well done, mate.
Okay, next up we have our much coveted Katie Price Award. And this is for the player that goes down just that little bit too easily.
I will say this season though, it's more for one incident rather than consistent incidents. To be fair.
And to be fair, I don't think I was there for this incident, but apparently it was very funny. Someone who would normally, I would say, is pretty good and tries to stay on his feet, but this one incident was much fabled, that he took a bit of a tumble and rolled around on the floor for a little while, howling and moaning in a kind of feminine fashion. So this one for this season goes to Mr. George Howe.
Yes, I should say on this, George, if you're listening, this was in our game for Yellows. So this is entirely my fault for putting Ben up to this, because I was there. It was an incident where, to be fair, George genuinely did get clipped. He got fouled, but I personally thought it was quite amusing. The amount of not the meal he made of it, but the amount of rolling around, and there was a couple of loud shouts on it. He didn't deserve it at all, but it was just, I thought it was equal parts amusing and concerning at the same time. And if I'm really honest, it's one of those ones that I could actually remember for this award.
To be fair.
So so it's all in jest,
but it's
George,
all
but
in
I thought
jest,
it was quite
Georgie.
amusing. Yeah. I thought it was quite amusing at the time. But to be fair, he did get clipped. It was just for such a big guy who can literally strong arm anyone off the ball. I just thought it was a little amusing. He was on the floor.
He'll love that
at the time, unfairly so maybe. Anyway, our next one is the Phil Jones Award. Now this goes to usually, particularly what has done traditionally, gone to an outstanding piece of defending that we've seen, someone who's put their body on the line, a la Phil Jones, for the cause. Whether it's the diving heading tackle, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
saving it with your face.
There have been some very deserving moments this season, if we could remember them. But this year it goes to someone who's actually had several of these moments across the season. We felt it was thoroughly deserved because of the sheer amount of goal-saving tackles he has made that I have seen him make over the season. And that is Mr. Dave Danley. Because
Dave.
It's just incredible how quickly also he can get back and save these tackles. To be fair, honourable mention should go to his teammate, Mr. Chris Cowan, who does a similar thing for them consistently all the time. It just so happens that I have seen and remembered Dave doing many of these across last season.
He is. I've sworn numerous times at Dave for being in the way or getting there last minute. Bless him. But again, another lovely man who's very well beloved down there, and is just a pleasure to be around and a pleasure to play football with. So, but a great footballer as well. And he doesn't rate himself, which makes me laugh. He's so humble. He's so like. He never wants. I mean, we've tried to get him on here, to be fair, and he won't come on. He refuses to come on. He's had an incredible journey, and we'd love to have him on. But fantastic guy and brilliant.
But there was one moment that made me laugh quite a lot during the season. I remember it on the sideline where he tackled, I think it was Ruben at the time, and he won the ball, and then I think Ruben stuck a foot out and like fouled him essentially. Was just kicking out, it was a bit of a scramble for the ball. Anyway, and the ref gave a free kick to Blacks for the foul on Dave. And then Ruben was like, he was typical Ruben fashion, love you Ruben, but had a little bit of a conversation with the referee. And Dave was kind of like giving it back to him a little bit, just in a jesty way. And I just remember the bit where he goes, "Well, who won the foul, Ruben?" And just it was us, wasn't it? Yeah. So maybe just as a joke, I thought it was quite, or something, words to that effect, and I thought it was very amusing on the sideline.
He did get carded, incidentally. He got sent off in the mini tournament. Yeah, Alex sent him off for sliding tackle through the back of Geordie. It was like that, very unlike Dave, but quite amusing nonetheless.
That's one of those ones that was a bit funny though, because obviously
it was.
Ref was handing out cards
bit of
for fun there.
But well done, Davo. Keep going, mate. We love you.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the last one. Now, normally we would have asked the captains to vote for their most valuable player of the season. We didn't do that. Always, sadly, did we forget? Yes, we probably forgot to. For some reason, the end of the season seemed to come around really quickly this season, and we were just caught us off hand a little bit. And ordinarily, we would ask the captains or the teams to give us their MVPs for their teams, but we've just gone with the MVP for the season. And we're fairly confident that most people would agree with us on this one. Would you say, Josh?
Yeah.
And it's a bit boring. It's a bit boring because his name's always mentioned, but you can't take away from what he's done off the pitch with his weight loss has been truly incredible. But also on the pitch, he's a massive player in the middle of the park for our team. That's probably given it away. But MVP for Man Fat Bournemouth this season goes to Mr. Matt Waterman. Well done, mate. Big round of applause for you, buddy.
Yes, indeed.
He's a huge character. He's a huge part of our team. He's always in the chat. He's always sharing what he does and how he does it. And I'm sure those that have heard him his interview on the podcast will kind of understand the sort of character he is. But he's a big part of our team. He's always there, always losing weight, always positive. He's one of those guys who, and on the pitch, he's so calm on the pitch as well. He sort of sits in the middle of the park and he doesn't ever panic, and he's just a really good guy to have around, and it's really working for him. So long may that continue. So well done, Matthew. Here's to another fantastic season for you, mate. Well done.
Indeed. Yeah.
Cool.
Very good.
And that rounds up our Lose to Win awards for season 10. Was season 10?
Yes, it was season 10. Yeah.
Season 10. Great work, kids. Love it.
Yeah. Very good.
So where does that bring us, Joshua?
That brings us on to this season.
Woo, week 1.
Week 1 of season 11. And I'm just going to jump into our usual roundup. I'm not going to do anything special. So our week 1 was his new season is often an anticlimax, or it can be potentially. We should know by now not to get our hopes up, not to expect epic feats of weight loss following the friendly week layoff, as we had last week, with all the temptation to relax our competitive edge and indulge ourselves at the expense of our waistlines. However, of course, we always hope for the flying start, but it's in vain hope usually, often dash cruelly against the rocks of real life when confronted by a cold, unforgiving scales that Steve likes to refer to. But not this time. This time was pretty amazing. This time we've come flying out of the traps, like Anthony Gordon, proving a point for England, as he did in the most recent international break, and told under an achievement to kind of do one, really. So 31 kilos lost. Wow. Is a fine start to the season, isn't it? With lots of individual success stories underpinning that total. More than 2/3 of the club, 51 players out of 75 weighing in, lost weight, and 6 of those 75 were new signings, establishing their baselines, so had no opportunity to lose weight. Whichever way you look at it, we've wasted no time in getting our game faces on this season.
Outstanding. Yeah.
I should potentially be said it's another, I wouldn't say a win, but win for the community's thoughts on a friendly week versus no friendly week, as we've had before. I think a friendly week's potentially a good chance to reset. I think it's not for everyone all the time. I think some people feel the momentums are beneficial, but I would say the vast majority of people feel that 1 week rest is always something to reset the mind, reset the body.
I think so.
And get going for a new season is beneficial. Yeah. And if this week's anything to go by, then I should say it works.
Yeah, I agree.
Fittingly, the scales played a major part in match results last week. Ooh. So here are the scores then to start the season. We have a draw already in week 1, unbelievably.
What?
The Oranges and the Yellows drew 10-all.
Wow.
The Whites beat the Blacks 15-9 to start the season.
Yeah.
The Greens had, unfortunately, a slightly more one-sided game thanks to 2 Matt Waterman milestones. That meant the Purples won 21-8 against the Greens.
21-8.
Unbelievable, isn't it? And the Reds won a close one, 11-9 against the Blues.
Nice.
So us Yellows enjoyed a comfortable pitch win against the Oranges, only to see their opponents close the 4-goal deficit thanks to their superior weight loss goal tally. A milestone from a long-serving Orange, which we'll get to in a minute, providing this decisive factor in earning the draw. Whites went even better, turning a 2-1 pitch defeat to the Blacks into a stunning 15-9 win.
Nice.
Where 2 milestone men added up exactly to the difference between the teams.
Brilliant.
The other 2 matches saw the Purples and Reds winning on the pitch and keeping those wins on the scales as well when they were brought into play. Team performance of the week was undoubtedly the Purples, though. Your Purples. Even without the fact that last season's miracle worker Matt Waterman collecting 2 deferred milestones, you still saw 9 out of 10 players lose weight for a huge team total of 13.9 kilos of that 31 kilos. Any thoughts that they might be resting on their laurels and coasting on Matt Waterman's coattails can be taken outside and given a good kicking. So 4 Purples, including Matt, of course, lost more than 2 kilos. And as well as Matt's milestone extravaganza, they also gave us our first BMI boss of the season, as Matt Young finally consummated his long flirtation with breaking into maintenance. So there you go. Very, very
Which
good.
was utterly ridiculous, by the way, because he didn't tell anyone. He just we were still at the sideline going, we're trying to add up, goals that we've scored from a weight loss point of view. And Matt, bless him, he's kind of he kind of is very busy all of the time, so he's not always ever present in the chat and stuff like that. But he does pop up and he does turn up every week and he does lose weight. He's very busy, has a very busy life. But we were talking about Paul. Everyone knew about Matt's goals, of course, but he just nonchalantly walked up to start going, and he just walked up and went, so I've hit maintenance. And we were like, sorry, what? yeah, I've hit maintenance. Yeah. So that's good, isn't it? And we were like, what are you talking about, mate? That's amazing. So his challenge now obviously is to stay in it for the rest of the season. But I know he's kind of been he's been struggling. He's one of those guys who's kind of been close and then put a bit back on and struggled a bit, plateaued a little bit. And I think obviously the kind of reset and the go again has helped him. And he's so fingers crossed. His challenge is to kind of keep it up for the season and fingers crossed he achieves that. So it was quite funny and then we totted it up and it was like, oh Christ, we've started on 9 people losing weight, everyone tracking. We'd started on 16, 17 goals or something before we'd even walked onto the pitch, and we all know that's how you win these games. We went out and had a good pitch performance as well, which was brilliant, and it was a good game. I think the score flattered us a little bit. I think it was much closer than that suggests, but it was great to get the win, and but to get that kind of weight goal advantage, it makes a big difference. And I've spoken about this before, that it can really affect your psychology if you rock up and half the team have not done very well on weight loss. They feel like they've let people down, their heads are down before you've even walked on the pitch, and that can often affect what happens on the pitch as well. You go out not particularly confident, you end up losing by a couple of goals or something, and then you're even more cross, and it just pisses everybody off. But the vibe you get when you rock up and everyone's lost weight and everyone's going, how much did you lose? Oh yeah, I've lost this, I've lost that. Brilliant. That means there's 6 of us that have lost weight, and then you get the odd one who hasn't, but you can pick them up, because the energy is so high, and then you take that energy onto the pitch and it makes a massive, massive difference. So yeah, the guys were really up for it last weekend, and we'd spoken about it at the end of last season. We'd kind of started to click a little bit, and we feel like we've got quite a lot to offer this season. So it was a brilliant performance on the scales for the lads, and backed up by the pitch. So fully well deserved. Unfortunate the Greens got the sort of 6-goal battering from Matt straight off the bounce, and a bit fortuitous that Matt decided to hit maintenance that week as well. Because if the truth would be told, we'd have told him to blooming well keep it until the next week.
Not that you should be advising your players to do such a thing, Ben.
But you know what I mean. Fair play. But fair play to him. Anytime you hit something like that, it's incredible. So quite a good start to the season.
Yeah, he's lost by Matt Young more than 15 kilos in his time with us.
Yeah, which is
and
brilliant.
Deserves all the accolades going for such.
Yeah. Top man.
As a team, by the way, I should say the Whites also deserve a mention for seeing 9 out of 11 losing weight for a combined loss of 7.7 kilos.
Yeah, which is brilliant. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. While it's right to shout about Matt's breakthrough, there are plenty of other milestone men to celebrate this week.
Yeah.
So Josh Buxton and Jordan Mohammed continued their excellent starts with the club, by hitting 5%.
Brilliant.
A feat they share with the more familiar figure of Tim Winrow, who's come back again.
Who's back.
5%. Yeah. Adam White is the match-saving orange mentioned above, smashing through his 15% barrier with a kilogram to spare, I should say.
Yeah.
Reigning clubman Geordie Howe celebrated his honour by joining the elite 20% club.
Fantastic.
As well.
Yeah.
He's now lost more than 24 kilos since joining the club and shows no signs of stopping at that. To say, the milestone roll of honour is completed, of course, by Matt Waterman, hitting 5 and 10% early last season. He wasn't permitted to receive the bonuses for 15 and 20% in the same season, so they both arrived this week. don't bet against Matt receiving more deferred bonuses in week 1 of next season, I should say, as he's already maxed out his cards this time around in week 1, which is phenomenal. And another conversation to have another day about whether that's fair or not. It's just unbelievable. As long as he feels
in it, the fact
he doesn't demotivate. That's the thing.
No, do you know what? Well, we've talked about it, and while it's a bit annoying that he can't score anything. He's got last man standing, and he's got the continuous the goal scorer challenge. You can still turn up every week. He's got those goals in the bag, so as long as he loses weight every week, he can still, it's still going to be hard to beat. The only people that I think can beat him on top scorer is other people who are in maintenance to continue. Because anyone else,
So he gets the bonus for the maintenance plus every week from now on to be maintenance. So in theory, if Matt Young stays in maintenance every week, he would top.
But I'm sure there'll be more to follow. There's going to be many milestones being hit over the next few weeks, so it'll be really interesting. That'll be a really interesting one to watch this season, actually, top scorer, because I can see looming quite a few potential milestones. So fantastic work, and what a great start. Everyone, but positive start from everybody. It's really, really good to see. So fantastic. Long may it continue, I think.
Indeed. 39 players, we should say, lost enough weight, which was set challenge by Steve, 0.5 kilos, to claim their last man standing Grace Week.
Good.
And 6 players who were establishing their baseline weight. Welcome to the club, Steve, Lewis, Oscar, and Kevin. And then welcome back to Ramsey and George.
Welcome back, lads.
Have all been given complimentary Grace Weeks as a house.
Lucky boys.
No. Next week sees last man standing start properly, and anyone who reaches the last 30 will score a bonus goal for their team in whichever week that happens. So last man standing, I do really just say it's a really good incentive, isn't it? And it's a really good thing that Steve's put together for it, because actually, and I think this is partly contributed to last season's difference in weight loss overall, I would say, partly because obviously people are away on holiday. But I'm probably someone who was affected directly by this, and maybe it affected me more than it should have. But I know last man standing was a big drive for me the previous season. I was there week 1, lost weight. Then I go on holiday for 2 weeks, means I'm out of last man. There's nothing I can do. I'm just out of last man standing. And then I come back and I've got 11 weeks of the season left. And while I should still be able to consistently go back and lose weight, not being in last man standing, I think has maybe contributed to the fact that I didn't have the best season with my weight. I'm not saying it contributed everything. There were other things, I'm sure, but it's just mainly just not getting my head right. But it can be a decent motivation for many people, and it's a small part of me striving for that extra 0.2 or 0.3 every week just to stay in last man. And those add up. If you're doing that, every few weeks, that really adds up. So I think it's a fantastic incentive. I should say there are more incentives / challenges coming to the league this year. Something that me and Steve are trialing is to do some team challenges.
I like the look of these. This is good. The
original plan was to try and do it for all 14 weeks, but realistically we need to trial these past the group. So weeks 3, 6, 9 and 12 this season will have a team challenge of some kind.
Love that.
To be confirmed. So I won't reveal anything to you.
Oh, you tease.
Our first one will be coming to you this weekend for start of week 3. So we'll see what it is, shall we?
Look forward to it, mate. I love it.
And we'll see what kind of buy-in we get from the league. Anyone listening, I would really hope that this is of benefit to you and that you can buy into what we're trying to do. I think it's optional, but it's ultimately going to potentially give you bonus goals for your team.
And I think that's a great incentive, because I know the different groups of teams have their kind of own little incentives running, and some people either do it individually or within the teams. But it's nice that there can be the extra challenges for the whole community to try and engage with in order to to gain a bit of an extra head start on the next game. So well done,
my
mate.
Hypothetical to sell this, almost they need selling, is let's say you have a holiday, like we said last week, and you're out of last man by week 5, week 6.
Yeah.
You come back, or let's just say you're out of last man by week 5. You come back week 6. There's a challenge. You can gain bonus goals for your team.
Yeah.
So that while you don't have last man anymore,
you can do the next challenge.
Potential bonus goals. You can do that challenge to gain bonuses, and that might just be the thing that gets you back straight into the habit you need after a holiday.
Yeah.
Or various other things to push on, and then you've got them a few weeks apart, so you can kind of
go again.
That's the hope, at least.
Well, let's see how it goes. I think it'll be well received.
I think it depends what it is.
Well, I mean, there might be some that are big hits, and there might be some that not so much. But that's the whole point of trialing, isn't it? So I think it'll be interesting to see how it goes. I look forward to hearing about it, mate. It'll be great. So awesome work.
I'll go from there.
Nice.
Should get back to our team of the week.
Yeah, go on.
It's a supercharged team of the week. Really is, with every member of it losing more than 2 kilos. Harry Reid leads the way with a stunning 3.5 loss.
Good Lord.
While Josh Buxton continues his record-breaking run by featuring for the 4th consecutive week.
Wow.
And every week he's been able to. Spare a thought, though, I should say, for Tim Winrow and Tom Dowling, who miss out despite losing 2.1 and 2 kilos, respectively. So that's a pretty tough one to say. So the list of honours is as follows. So Harry Reid tops it with 3.5 kilos.
Wow. Crazy.
Liam Goodall lost 2.9 kilos.
Well done, Liam.
Josh Buxton, as we mentioned, lost 2.8 kilos.
Mm-hmm.
Martin Boone lost 2.7. I think he's pretty new to the league.
Martin, super purple.
Yeah. Matt Waterman, who lost 2.7, and he continues to drop it like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Gareth Hensby lost 2.3 kilos.
Well done, Gareth.
Yeah, indeed. Tom Davey lost 2.2 kilos, and then Bill Court lost 2.2.
Now, how many purples are in there, mate? Quite a few. I think there's 4 or 5 purples in there.
4.
Who we got? 4. Bill, Matt,
Liam, Martin,
Martin.
And Bill.
Yeah, 4 purples in there. Look. Wow, look at that. Watch out, boys. Going. Purples are coming for you.
Not if everyone else has anything to say about it.
No, I know.
7 other teams who disagree with you there, I think.
Good.
Yeah. So we've had a great start to the new season, but it is only a start. Remember, we need to start turning our high-achieving headline losses into ongoing habits, changing what we do so the weight doesn't just come off, but it stays off. So let's make the next 14 weeks of the season a permanent change, essentially. So we've got this.
Yeah, that's good. Good positive stuff.
A long-winded roundup for week 1.
Long.
But no less important, indeed.
Absolutely. Start of the season. Yeah. Love it. Yeah. So
looking forward to the season. As we creep in towards the autumn and it gets slightly cooler, slightly rainier, slightly windier on those games. Thankful I don't have any 9 or 9:30s to play.
Oh yeah, nice. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, it was you last time, wasn't it? So you can't say anything.
I've got to be honest. For some bizarre reason, my teams have happened to have the last couple. I think on the bounce.
I had a feeling it would be us.
You did say, didn't you, the way that it works itself out?
The way that it works in the system, I kind of slightly worked out based on the last year's fixtures and the fixtures before that. Who it might fall to.
Yeah.
And it was one of a couple and we were one of them. So I was thinking, okay, we got a good chance here. I didn't even realise until halfway through the week when we were putting the thing out, when Ryan mentioned, we've actually got all the earlies off. That's fair enough. So which in our case is actually beneficial for if all of our team. So
that's good.
Although there's people like me who I'm going to be there till past 9:30 anyway, there are a couple in the team who are going to benefit from having the early game. So that's quite nice.
Well, that's good. Well, one team's always going to get it, and obviously I didn't pay Steve enough money for my lads to have it this time. I'm going to have to up my bungs.
The bidding process was very competitive.
No, mate, it's great. Yeah, but I don't think we're too worried about timings. I think, I mean, there'll be a few players, as you say, that the later fixtures don't really help out. But likewise, there's some of the early ones as well. So it's kind of
I don't think there's really a fixture gate part 3 to worry about.
No, thankfully.
So I think everyone kind of understands that. So, and having moved earlier, it's just a little bit easier on everyone.
Definitely.
Very good.
Well, it's the new season, mate.
Yeah. Team rotations aren't going to be particularly any easier, though, with full teams. Everyone knows 11 players is going to be a little bit more difficult, but you can choose to play 8v8.
Yeah, I think we'll see a few more 8v8s. We played 8v8 with Greens on Friday. You do suffer a little bit with space on the pitch. It makes it a bit more compact, which suits some players, doesn't suit others so much. But it gives everyone the pitch time and it makes it a little bit easier.
Whether it suits us too much, but one of our biggest strengths has been transition. So one of our biggest strengths has been Ryan gets the ball from a goal kick or he picks it up and we move. We just absolutely fly towards the other end. Paul does so much running up and down. Dan Keats does so much running up and down.
Yeah.
I'm usually in the middle, not always. Alex is a fantastic target man. So it's just, it goes up to Alex or it goes up to Paul or me and we just get people around everyone. And it's, to be fair, this start of this season worked really well for us. Not to reveal any tactical stuff because I'm no longer the captain, so this is no longer my
my area
of
expertise. Step down again, step back.
It may be that Ryan wants to move to more of a Pep Guardiola style, and I was playing.
He just wants assists, mate. He'll be pumping it up to Alex all day long.
He wants clean sheets, mate, and so does Neil, and so does Jesus, and so do I, and so does everyone.
Fair play.
So and we got a good one this week. So
well, good luck, mate. You've had a good start to the season. You had a good week last week, didn't you?
But so's a lot of teams, and even those teams who may not have had the best week one or have fallen foul to a milestone madness. Brought. There's 13 weeks to go.
Absolutely,
it's just week one.
Absolutely.
And there's many ways to turn this around, but the main way to turn it around is the weight.
Yeah,
you get the weight right, most things follow.
Correct.
As you were saying very eloquently, you have a good feeling on the sideline from all the weight you've lost. You bring that into the game. The pitch tends to go well, and even if you end up on the slightly losing side, if it's a close enough game, you've done enough on the weight. Usually, good.
Just gives you that little bit of confidence, I love it as people turn up, players turn up, and everyone's going, "Where's such and such? Where have they got on?" And then you get little murmurings about how people have done. And it's like, "Oh, well, I've lost a bit. I've only lost. It doesn't matter. Loss is a loss. It adds to the goal tally. So just keep going, boys. Keep going. We're all there for the same reason."
I wonder if we can break Steve's last man standing yet again.
To see how many can make it to the end.
So he has to move the dial yet again because he moved the dial for this season, last season, and this season because everyone there were more than 10 people. There was 10 people who stayed in all the way the season before.
I think you'll have loads of people staying in this season.
Yeah,
I've just got a feeling.
I hope so, and I'm hoping the dial will be moved yet again. So it's no longer 15 as the bottom line. It's however many. So it's
man.
It'll be very interesting.
Yeah.
Very good.
Groovy. Well, that's the awards roundup. That's the last season roundup. That's last week's roundup. So that's been a bit of an epic one. We thought we were going to do a shorter one last week just to do the awards, and it's turned into an epic one this week. But
we've been here an hour and 15 minutes talking
about. That's okay. That's okay.
Fat only.
The lads love it. They love it.
Oh yeah.
I think they do.
Yeah.
They probably don't. They're probably going, "Shut up, lads. You're boring to tears." And talk about some proper football.
Well, that's the thing. We could talk about proper football, but I think we'll have to leave that for another week.
I think we probably will,
unfortunately. The only proper football that I consider proper football that we might want to talk about is fantasy football, which is not proper football, but it is popular football. We haven't done this for a while. But considering that you suggested we talk about it, I did realise that you are top of our league, so no wonder you want to suggest talking about it.
Am I? I don't believe I knew
top
that.
Of one of our leagues, at least.
I think Jet's top of one, isn't he? Yes, look at that. Yes, I'm top of quite a few leagues, actually. I had a very, very fortuitous week last week. I've got to be honest.
Yes, Gabriel and Sanchez.
Yeah, they were the difference.
Yeah, indeed.
They were
Arsenal
the difference.
defence is pretty insane.
Yeah.
Clean sheets seem to be a thing of the past in the Premier League, unless you're Arsenal.
Yeah.
So that's I would say, from a fantasy perspective, that's more emphasis on your attacking defenders, I would say, than ever before.
Yeah.
So people like your Pedro Porros and your Trents and people like that.
Interestingly, I took out Porro last week for Trent because Trent had been doing so well, and then they came up against Forest, and I thought, well, that's kind of a bit of a no-brainer, really. So, and then obviously that they came a cropper to Forest, so it turned up. But then Arsenal beat Tottenham anyway. So, and after the next week, I know Arsenal play City this week, which is a difficult one if you've got a load of City and Arsenal players in, which quite a few people have. This could be a week for some people who don't have those to catch up.
Yes, I have one of either.
Do you? See, because I've got I've got 3 Arsenal players and 2 City players, so there's a very good chance that I will not be top after this weekend.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully not.
It's early days, though, mate. Early days.
Yeah. So the 4th game week is gone. Some people are starting to wildcard now. I think I'm personally I'm going to wildcard probably in a couple of weeks. Game week 6, I think I've got my eye on for wildcard.
Yeah.
We're about a month in. Has there been anything in particular that's caught your eye from a fantasy perspective this season, other than Erling Haaland scoring hat-tricks every week?
Well, I mean, there was the big question at the beginning, wasn't there? Was the Haaland or Salah, or can he get both in? I think the interesting one, those kind of ones that had the sort of a high price or a higher premium that haven't played, so like your Fodens and your Palmers, that people took a punt on those and ended up taking them out very quickly because they weren't even playing. I mean, Foden's still not made a full appearance yet. Palmer's kind of only rocked up for a little while. He got some knock. It was really interesting. So I was very much in the Haaland only club. That's what I went with, and to be fair, it's paid off. I know Salah has scored consistently as well, but I mean, Haaland doing what he's doing has been for everyone that's gone down that route.
So I was in the Haaland only club to start. I'm now in the both club.
Right.
I have both of them.
Right.
The main reason I have both of them is because I just cannot go without captaining Salah this week when he plays Bournemouth, and I love Bournemouth obviously, but him against Bournemouth or Haaland against Arsenal is just a captaincy choice that I'm allowed to make because I have Salah.
Yeah,
that's one of the amazing reasons why I got him in. Although this week was probably the worst week to have done it, because I got him and João Pedro in for Saka, who has he's yet to blank all season.
Yeah.
Salah, Saka, and Isak.
Okay.
Who, to be fair, didn't do anything. He was off for 45 minutes, but and he's injured, I think, or potentially injured.
Yeah.
But even so, João Pedro didn't even play, and then Salah completely blanked, obviously. So that's a bit disappointing this week. So I dropped down a little bit. But overall,
so did you captain Salah last week? Is that what you did?
No, I captained Haaland.
Okay. Yeah.
Against Brentford at home, scores a couple.
Yeah, fair. It's going to be a real difficult week this week. It'll be interesting to see if Saka plays. I'm not sure if he will. Are they playing Champions League tonight? Did they play last?
Yeah, it's Wednesday night, we should say, for those listeners.
Oh yeah, sorry. Are they playing tonight? They're playing tomorrow night. I can't. They're playing over 3 nights now, aren't they? It's all new. It's all new to me. I don't really follow Champions League. Sorry to upset anyone who does, but that's mainly because my team has nowhere. Okay.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if he's in the squad. If he's not in the squad, will he play at the weekend? Probably, I would suggest. I know he went off with a bit of a knock at the end of the game at the weekend, didn't he? But who knows? I mean, I often find that Arsenal City games are board draws, aren't they? They're either a 0-0 or they're a 1-1 They're very rarely high scoring goal fests, because neither of them let in many goals, and it'll be very, very cagey because they're obviously the closest rivals. So
you never know, though, don't you? I mean, the way Haaland started, it's potentially a bit ominous, isn't it? Really. However, as we've said, Arsenal seem to keep clean sheets even against some of the toughest opposition, so they just grind them out.
Do Do you know what's one player that I've thought would absolutely smash it from the off, who hasn't done anything yet, and it's a real shame because his figures are amazing. It's Rogers, is Villa's
Morgan Rogers. Yeah,
Morgan Rogers. He's like,
right?
It's really difficult because the guy is just absolutely smashing it, and he's probably Villa's best player at the moment. Yeah. But he's not getting assists. He's not scoring goals, which is a bit of a shame, really, because I'm going to have to, if he doesn't start doing something, he's going to have to come out, I think. But
yes, this is the thing. So I would say don't panic on people like Morgan Rogers, because he does pass the eye test as such. He is brilliant. Yeah. And he could have scored. I can't remember who they played. Was it Everton? He could have scored a couple against Everton.
Yeah.
And he probably should have. So he is getting those chances. They're just not there, and he will return at some point soon. I can almost guarantee it. It's just, and it might even be a massive haul. You never really know, and you're going to regret taking him out when it happens. Yeah, he's got games against Wolves and Ipswich to come. Yeah, I'm going to keep him until at least through then. Yeah, and we'll see what happens then after that. You know, people like Smith Rowe, who quite a lot of people have got. He's got Newcastle and Forest for the next two. He's been okay. He assisted at the weekend. Up and down. He's getting his minutes under his belt now. And the manager said that while he's coming off for 60, 70 minutes most of the time, that he's building fitness. So
yeah, definitely.
He probably will be a 90-minute man, but at some point. So I wouldn't worry about him. Eze's an interesting one because he's got Man United, Everton, and then Liverpool in 7. But
he put us out of the Carabao Cup last night.
Yeah.
He returned. The prodigal son returned to Loftus Road, and he sent a really nice message to the fans, actually. He sent a really nice video message saying, you know, love coming back there. I always loved my time there. Of course, this time I'll be supporting Palace, but it'd be great to be back. And then he assisted and scored, got a wicked deflection and scored and put us out. But, you know, fair play to him. I do love him. He's a great player.
You know, I think, so there you go. You've got to see, I think Villa, Fulham, players are good. Obviously, Liverpool players are good at the moment, but who do you pick outside of Salah and potentially Trent for the next couple? I'm going to want Brentford, Arsenal, definitely from game week 6, which is why my wild card is very much on the horizon. I don't have any Arsenal, and I'm probably going to get 3. I'm going to triple up, I think. Probably going to end up getting 2 defenders and bloody Saka or something like that. Is probably the most likely thing because they just keep clean sheets non-stop at the moment. So there's plenty of options out there. It's quite an interesting season so far because they're, you know, it's a bit like, who do I pick? Palmer, Saka, Foden, you know, Son, who are all in the roughly the same category. Can you fit in Haaland and Salah? Can you just go with one, and then which one do you pick if you need one? At the moment, it seems like Haaland is the guy you must have.
Yeah,
he's owned by like 60 odd percent, 63% of all managers. So so his price has already gone up quite a bit. So
I was quite intrigued about the amount of people that trip captained him so early on in the season.
Yes,
I mean it made a return. So I mean you can't argue with it, but I was really surprised at how many people did that.
The reason behind that is because normally speaking in a season, there's going to be quite a few, there's 2, 3, 4 double game weeks and blank game weeks towards the end of the season because of the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, etc. Because they've changed when the FA Cup happens, and therefore it's not on a Premier League weekend anymore, there won't be some blanks and doubles that there were before.
Right.
So the idea of using your triple captain, which is probably the least effective or least worrisome chip to use in a double game week, you may not have a double game week to use because you want to use your free hit and your bench boost or your wild card on those weeks. So, and there's also a mystery chip which no one knows anything about at the moment. So it could be something like that you want to use on a double, and therefore you've exhausted all your doubles. So when's the next best single game week to use? Who's the best player in the best fixture to use? And it was at the time in game week 2, Haaland against Ipswich away.
Yeah.
So you can understand that's the highest projected points of all of the single game weeks of any player, I think, across the season, potentially.
Yeah.
Except for maybe Ipswich at home. So you use it then.
Yeah, fair enough.
And so you can make sense. And let's be honest, anyone who did use it, very well played.
Oh, God, fair play. Yeah. He can't ask for more than that.
You got basically the maximum out of it. So
yeah. So any sort of real sort of left wing kind of players, sort of left field players that you would sort of punt to make some kind of miraculous.
Oh, you
impact.
Mentioned Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
I think Sharda from Brentford, who might play number 9, is a good shout. He's only owned by 0.1%.
Is this because Wisso is injured?
Potentially, yes. I don't know precisely what it was. I was just reading about he's a potential option, because you're going to want Brentford from like game week 6 onwards, I would say, and he's quite cheap. Who else was I thinking of? Jamie Vardy might be a good punt for next week or
he's
next
getting
couple.
Minutes, isn't he? Calvert-Lewin I mentioned because
Calvert-Lewin isn't a bad shout, actually.
He's got form.
He really isn't.
He's doing well. He's playing well. I know Everton are poor side and they've lost two really shocking games that they really shouldn't have lost. But he is particularly playing very well. And he's a good option. And then Ketia as well is another good option, I think, at Palace, because he hadn't scored until this week, and he scored last night against us, and he was looking really lively. So I think he's another good cheap option, especially with players like Muniz, who are not really doing much, who people have punted with. Cunha's not really doing anything. Wolves have had a really bad start of the season, so ones that people have punted for. João Pedro potentially injured, might not play. I think Welbeck's another good option, to be fair. He's had a really good start. I know the most have gone for João Pedro, but Welbeck has had good returns.
Yeah, if I had the choice between both, I knew they're both fit, João Pedro. But if it's given João Pedro's maybe not fit, it's funny because we were saying, I was reading about this. João Pedro, when he plays, he's brilliant, and he tends to be that 90-minute man for a decent side. But he gets so many knocks. He only played 16 games last season or something.
Yeah.
He just got so many knocks where he's out for a week. So he's a good shout. Anyway, Forest players, so Chris Wood or Aina at the back, like that. So they're keeping quite a few. Well, their defensive data is good, and they're actually doing pretty well now.
Is it Adama at United? He's a pretty good shout.
Ahmad,
isn't he?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ahmad. That's it. Not
Ahmad,
Adama.
Yeah, he's not a bad shout either. I'm not sure I trust Man United, but so if there was any Man United player I put
Barnsley a good pumping, didn't they?
Yeah, it's Barnsley. No disrespect to Barnsley.
Yes.
7-0, yes, but it was Barnsley.
But that can give you a bit of confidence, because it's not like they've got a team full of shit players. They're decent players, and Rashford's got a couple. Well, that might do his confidence a world of good. You never know.
Yeah. So, not bad.
Well, let's look forward to another game week. I think it will be a difficult one this weekend. Like I said, for anyone who's got a lot of City, Arsenal players, you might struggle a bit. For those that have got the few differentials in there, you might catch up a little bit if you've found yourself dropping back early on. But again, it's still early days, so I shouldn't be panicking too much. I shall just bathe in the glory of being top of our leagues for a week at least.
For a week, yes. Anyway, mate, we should probably leave it there. We didn't really give any specific insight on fantasy, but it was just good to chat about it for 15-20 minutes. So
yeah.
Apologies, or please listen. To anyone who's out there, apologies for the last 20 minutes. Or if you do like your fantasy, then we'll potentially come back with some slightly more targeted information, I would say.
Any questions? Anyone's got, just drop them in the chat if you want any specific information around FPL. Josh is the main man regarding stats, etc., but I'm happy to throw in my two penneth if anyone's particularly interested. But also, anyone got anything they want to talk about, anyone wants to come on, drop us a message, drop us a line, and we'll do our best to try and broach that. We'll try and look at a few new things that people might want to talk about as we move forward. We've got some guests definitely we want to talk to in the next few weeks. So watch this space and keep listening. Thank you for the people who do support us. It's nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. I think you've encapsulated it perfectly there, Ben. So
thanks,
I have nothing more to say other than thank you again, and thank you to everyone who listens. And
thank you.
We'll be back again next week.
And have a great season, everybody. And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers, Joshua.